Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. The Sensex gains nearly 400 points, the Nifty up 125 after a steady session on the Lal Street. Mid-caps outperformed the blue chips today. Zomato shareholding worth 5,400 crore rupees change hands after a block deal. Sources say Alibaba subsidiary Antfin Singapore is likely to have sold 2% stake in the company. Murugappa Group's plans to split the business into three equitable parts hits a hurdle. Sources say stark differences have emerged among two of the three family factions. The group has a total of 30 companies, of which 10 are listed. The government directs the UPSC to cancel the lateral entry recruitment advertisement for 45 posts, says there is a need to review and reform the no reservation provision when it comes to such recruitments. Congress Party and key NDA allies had opposed the UPSC's move. The Supreme Court forms a 9-member task force to prepare a plan on ensuring the safety of medical professionals at workplaces after the Kolkata rape and murder case. Warns the West Bengal government not to unleash force against peaceful protesters. Directs the CBI to submit a status report by Thursday. Israeli military claims to have recovered bodies of 6 people taken captive by Hamas in Gaza. The U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken heads to Egypt and Qatar for more ceasefire negotiations. Hamas is still believed to be holding over 100 hostages in Gaza. U.S. President Joe Biden passes the baton to Kamala Harris on the opening night of the Democratic National Convention. The Harris campaign proposes hiking corporate tax rates to 28%, rolling back the tax cuts under Donald Trump. Specialist Italian divers search for 6 missing people after a super yacht sinks near the coast of Sicily. British tech entrepreneur Michael Lynch and Morgan Stanley International Bank's chairman Jonathan Bloomer among those missing. Well, let's start with the market action. A steady session on the Lal Street today. The market saw some broad-based buying. The Sensex gained about 378 points, 0.5% higher. The Nifty up by about 0.5% as well, 126 points. 480 points higher, almost 1% of a gain coming in there for the Nifty mid-cap, outperforming the blue chips today. And the Nifty Bank was up by about 1% as well. So the market's closing strong this afternoon. Let's go across now to Prashant. He joins us now. Prashant, before I get to the markets, a very happy birthday to you. And I guess the market's celebrating your birthday today.
Shireen, they're celebrating your birthday as well. Happy birthday to you as well. So, I mean, it's always wonderful. It's a special day, I guess, for both of us. And it's sort of more special because it's your birthday as well.
Well, yes, we're twinning. We're birthday twins, Prashant. But yeah, a good way to close the day for the markets as well.
No, absolutely. A good day. And I think, you know, what today's session does, Shireen, is it kind of opens the path in some ways. You know, you can now start to roughly see the path to the previous all-time high for the Nifty, which is at about 25,078. You know, you have taken out some of these resistance levels over the last few sessions. The 20-day is gone. The upper end of the gap area is done. The gap which was formed because global markets cratered a few days back, I mean, actually early August. So that has been filled now. And you're looking up broadly. And of course, global markets are also back to where they started falling from. S&P 500, of course, the big market there is a case in point. Even the Nifty Bank is starting its repair work, although that has got a lot more to do because it fell a lot more as compared to the Nifty. The Nifty Bank today also crept up back above the 20-day moving average. It had not done so far. It did that today, which is a good thing. Mid-caps and small-caps, no problems, about 0.8% gains on both these indices, and that's the reason why the breadth of the market looked pretty solid. I'll get to sort of the large Nifty gainers. It was all financials. So insurance companies like SBI Life, HDFC Life did well. Bajaj Finserv, the NBFC names, Bajaj Finance, Shriram Finance, a bank like IndusInd was flying high. So this was a financials-led rally. The other two sectors outside of banks really were IT and pharma. IT has, of course, been having a great last 1 week or so. Nothing noticeable or large which was down on the Nifty. In the broader market, lots of action. Brokers, Angel One, Motilal Oswal, IIFL Securities were all higher. Remember that last day for public comments to SEBI's proposed sort of rules on F&O. That is now behind. And we hope to get some details about what associations, etc., presented. There were outsized gains in names like Godfrey Phillips, KI Industries. There was a UBS note, Poonawalla FinCorp. Stocks actually corrected quite a bit, was up 8%. Balrampur, there was Balrampur Chini, Cyan, JSW Energy, Nuclear Software, Snowman Logistics, and a few others. But this is the bulk of the big volume-led gains that you saw today. The shipbuilders hit some rough seas. So you had Muscat Dock, Garden Reach, Cochin Shipyard. These stocks now, from their all-time highs, are down between 25 to 35%. Muscat, of course, was the big crack. Ola, for the first time, it pulled back some. It's nearly doubled from that issue price at the highest point, ended down 6. There was also, of course, First Cry, which lost a little bit. Recent listing. Gravita India, strong gains recently. Keytex, Vabag, Matrimony are some of the others which also pulled back. For many of these stocks which sort of came off, it was basically 2-3 days, 20-30% kind of runs and some pullbacks. That's about it. All in all told, a pretty good day. And as I said, hopefully global markets stabilizing. You got a path cleared, and broadly you can start to see the road to the previous all-time highs, which is just what, 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 good days away in that sense. Back to you, Shireen.
Well, thanks very much, Prashant, and have a good rest of the evening. Enjoy whatever's left of your birthday. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Now, regulatory intervention in the F&O segment may impact volumes and participation levels. That's the word in from the BSE CEO, Ramamurthy. This comes just days after the market regulator formed an expert group to tighten the rules governing derivatives. Here's the BSE CEO on the F&O frenzy.
There are some views in the country, across the country in some places, that the volumes in equity derivatives market in India are slightly very high, and there are retail participants who are losing money, and there is a crowded volume on expiry days. So the regulatory intervention is to sort of address these concerns. And naturally and necessarily, therefore, they are meant to have an impact on the volumes and the participation levels.
Well, let's talk about a stock in focus today. Zomato shares worth over 5,400 crore rupees changed hands in a block deal. Alibaba subsidiary Antfin Singapore is likely to have sold 2% stake. Now, the transaction was executed at a floor price of 258 rupees a share. Remember, Antfin owns a 4.3% stake in the food delivery platform before this block deal. So Antfin likely to have sold a little over 2% today. And more block deals. Over 2 crore Ola Electric shares worth 353 crore rupees changed hands today. The volume represents around 0.5% of the company's equity. The transaction was done at an average of 151 rupees a share. The stock correcting today. Shares of Hindustan Zinc rose in early trade after its board approved a second interim dividend of 19 rupees a share for FY25. The interim dividend will amount to more than 8,000 crore rupees. Hindustan Zinc's promoter Vedanta, which owns more than 63% stake in the company, will receive 5,212 crore rupees in dividend payments. Medical consumables firm Polymedicure has launched a qualified institutional placement to raise 1,000 crore rupees. Sources tell us the shares are being offered at a discount of 15% on today's closing price. This QIP is expected to lead to an equity dilution of over 5%. Polymedicure plans to use the funds to set up new manufacturing facilities and pursue inorganic growth opportunities. Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. The Murugappa Group's plans to split the business into 3 equitable parts seems to have hit a hurdle. Sources say stark differences have emerged among 2 of the 3 family factions. Jude is standing by now to take us through the details. Jude, what exactly is going on? What is the issue? What does it mean now for the possible split of the Murugappa Group?
Well, what sources have told us, Shireen, is that these discussions, which have been going on for the greater part of 2 years, have essentially hit a roadblock between the 7 factions, or the 7 families, rather, belonging to the Murugappa Group, of which 2 out of 3 factions are having strong differences of opinion with regard to how this equitable and amicable business split can in fact be effected. Now, the bone of contention really is this. While some businesses or some companies of the Murugappa Group have seen their valuations skyrocket, especially in the last 3 to 4 years, some others, while have also seen moderate appreciation in their market value, haven't quite seen the kind of appreciation that these handful of companies have in fact witnessed. So, for example, while companies like CG Power or the Tube Investments of India have seen skyrocketing rises in their individual or respective share prices, some others like EID Parry or Coromandel International haven't quite seen the same. So the discussion and these differences are pretty much along these lines. How then can we effect an equitable and amicable split among such stark differences in market valuations surrounding these 10 listed companies at least? Now, the other difference of opinion is that should this split in fact be effected, it would in fact contravene some of the terms mentioned in a previously existing terms of family arrangement between the families of the Murugappa group, details and a date of which we aren't quite privy to as yet. So two big issues outstanding really insofar as this split of the Murugappa group is concerned. Now remember, the group is not new to controversy involving family members. In fact, 2 years before it sat down in 2022 to effect this split, what would have been the 8th branch of the Murugappa family, headed by Vali Arunachalam, one of the Murugappa scions, was in fact denied a place on what has been a traditional all-male board belonging to the Murugappa group. Vali, in fact, later sued the rest of the family, who then, as recently as last year, settled with her outside of court itself. Now, in fact, the Murugappa group, remember, is a century-old company involving 7 active families. The holding company is Ambadi Investments Limited, and since 2022, they've been sitting together, putting their heads together in terms of how they can split the business, but that process has in fact hit a roadblock, even as they figure out valuations and what constitutes a quote-unquote equitable, amicable split.
Jude, many thanks for joining us. Splitting a large conglomerate, a large group like the Murugappa group will always be a complex process, and to do it equitably and amicably will be an even bigger challenge given some of the differences that Jude spoke of. Now, the government has asked the Union Public Service Commission to cancel the lateral entry recruitment ad for 45 bureaucratic positions that the UPSC had issued on the 17th of August. The Union Minister of State, Jitendra Singh, in a letter to the UPSC chief, has said that there was a need to review and reform the no reservation provision when it comes to lateral hiring. Remember, 2 key NDA allies, Janata Dal United and Chirag Paswan's Lok Jan Shakti Party, had opposed the UPSC's move. The Congress had called the move an attempt to snatch reservation for backward classes. Parikshit is standing by with more on the controversy surrounding lateral entry. So essentially a U-turn being done there, Parikshit, by the government on the issue of lateral entry. Take us through the details.
After much criticism from the opposition and also from NDA allies like the JDU and the LJP, the government has decided to cancel the latest plan to recruit professionals through the lateral entry scheme into public jobs. The UPSC had taken out an advertisement on the 17th of August saying that they are inviting applications for 45 posts in the government, including 10 of that of joint secretaries, to be filled via the lateral entry scheme. There was a lot of criticism from the Congress party, which said that this was a direct attack on the constitution and an attempt to snatch away reservation from the backward classes. Now, keeping in mind the immense amount of criticism coming in from opposition parties and also from some of the NDA allies, the government has decided to put this lateral entry scheme on hold for the moment. In fact, the DOPT has written to the UPSC asking the body to cancel the latest advertisement, saying that there is no provision for reservation in these lateral entry appointments, and as reservation, social justice and equity are the very cornerstones of our constitution, therefore, this entire scheme needs to be reviewed and reformed as well. So this is a big move by the government, a big win for the opposition as well, as they had demanded the scrapping of this scheme. The DOPT also noting in its letter that was actually written by Minister Jitendra Singh to the UPSC chairman, it noted that the Prime Minister wants any future policy on lateral jobs to be aligned with the principles of reservation as mentioned in the Constitution.
Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. Well, here's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive this evening. The Central Board of Direct Taxes has laid out a detailed action plan for this fiscal year to tackle tax areas which have soared to 43 lakh crore rupees. Timsy is standing by with more. Timsy, so what can we expect?
In what could ease the litigation burden for the industry and aiming to create a more efficient, transparent and taxpayer-friendly system, the Income Tax Department has unveiled its yearly Central Action Plan for the current fiscal. According to sources, the plan lists out clarity for all its field formations and officers, proposing to align policies with broader objective of economic growth and fiscal stability. As per the plan, the roadmap of the department is to have initiatives to enhance tax administration, optimizing revenue collection, reducing arrear-demand gap, and yes, improving the taxpayer services. The plan, sources shared, has enlisted strict timelines for field formations for achieving budget targets, reduction in cash collection out of arrears from pending demands, litigation management, and improving service delivery standards, along with a special focus on redressal of grievances. The action plan has specifically focused on having a targeted approach for managing the tax demands, asking fields to have a clear focus on top 5,000 arrear cases, which constitute to about 60% of the total demand which is pending in the books of the Income Tax Department, which is of about 43 lakh crore rupees. And to address this real-time challenge, it has envisaged to form a special team by each jurisdiction to analyze these cases. Experts say this move will help in litigation burden reduction, and yes, something which is important right now for both the industry and the government. To be seen is how soon these measures actually result in reducing litigation and enhancing collection. Let's see how the tax department works on this proposal. Back to you.
All right, Timsy, many thanks for joining us. 43 lakh crore rupees in tax arrears. That's a significant sum there. Time for us to head to a break, but more coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. The Supreme Court will address Byju's concerns over the insolvency proceedings against the company on the 22nd of August. This after the EdTech giant informed the Supreme Court that the recent stay order on a settlement with the BCCI is being misconstrued as a revival of the insolvency process. Both the BCCI and Byju's have sought a stay on the proceedings. However, the Supreme Court has refused to grant interim relief. The Supreme Court has also formed a 9-member task force to prepare a plan to ensure the safety of medical professionals at workplaces. The Apex Court also questioned the conduct of the West Bengal government and the police over handling the RJ Kar rape and murder case. The CBI has been directed to submit a status report on its probe by Thursday. Meanwhile, healthcare services across West Bengal remain severely impacted in state-run hospitals as doctors continue with their agitation. Ashmit is standing by now to take us through the key directives issued by the Apex Court. Take us through what this committee is likely to do, Ashmit. What is the scope and the mandate?
Well, as far as this 9-member committee is concerned, the National Task Force, or the NTF as the CJI is calling it, there are twin subheads, there are twin heads that the Apex Court would like the NTF to focus on. The first is the element of security. So on that front, the Apex Court is asking the NTF to look into issues of whether or not there is police deployment, whether there's a police force present at the medical practitioner's facility, at the hospital, whether they're scanning for any weapons, if there are certain sections which are left exclusively for the medical practitioners, or is the entire hospital premises accessible by the general public. These are some of the measures. Have CCTV cameras been deployed? These are some of the measures that the NTF will now have to look at. That's, of course, one aspect, which is that of security. The other one is that of working conditions. The Apex Court did not look very kindly on the fact that in some cases, interns are looking at shifts which run up to as long as 36 hours. The Supreme Court was critical of the fact that there are not enough facilities available for dormitories or duty rooms. In some cases, even the toilets are not available for medical practitioners, and that of infrastructural aids is the second aspect that the Apex Court would like the NTF to focus on. As far as the NTF's composition is concerned, the Apex Court, very importantly, has accommodated 9 senior members of the medical fraternity, and this is an effort by the Apex Court to reach out to the medical fraternity to call off this strike, to call off this reservation that they have, to address their concerns and to assure that their concerns will be taken note of by the Apex Court. And in fact, there was an appeal also made by the CJI for the doctors to resume work, as it was having an undue impact on the on the marginalized. Now, with that in mind, the Apex Court has asked the NTF to come back with an interim report within 3 weeks' time, a final report within 2 months, also directing the Cabinet Secretary, the Home Secretary, as well as the Health Secretary to assist the NTF in any shape or form that the NTF may deem necessary. The next hearing in this case will be on August 22nd, and that's when the state government of West Bengal, as well as the CBI, will be furnishing their status reports.
All right, Ashmit, appreciate you joining us. Now, protests erupted at Badlapur railway station in Maharashtra, Thane district, after two 4-year-old girls were allegedly sexually abused inside their nursery school by a sweeper. The protesters crowded the track, stopping trains as they sought stringent action against the accused. The management of the school has suspended its principal and 2 staffers. The protesters also vandalized the school. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue right here on CNBC-TV18. But for now, from all of us, goodbye. Thanks for watching.